Did I get to every group? I did. Y'all promise? Okay, I'm starting to lose track. I'm multitasking, which is not a great thing. Y'all know that, right? Okay, moving on. Neuroscience behind mindfulness. So who has heard of mindfulness? Raise your hand. Who practices mindfulness on a daily basis? I bet you do, and you just don't know it. All right, so John Kabat-Zinn is one of the pioneers. I just need to say thank you. Thank you, and you have good penmanship, and you're spelling everything right. No, there's no squiggly line underneath this. This is like, oh man, I'm not writing on that in front of these teachers. No way, Jose. So John Kabat-Zinn is the pioneer that sort of somebody pronounce that word, westernized. Is that close enough? Thank you. Perfection is an illusion, and I'm not living to those standards. My best effort, right? So he is a really cool guy, and he has this definition which has been sort of modified by different people, but I think this probably is the bullseye. Mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment non-judgmentally, which is what we were trying to do this morning. How might I be present with myself? How might I honor my thoughts? How might I not move to judgment? How can I just be? How can I just be? So if we look at the what, why, and how, that is the what. And this is an example of the how. And this is something called building attention control. And y'all know we're in an attention deficit world. Bings and dings and 24/7. The screen time, I'll talk about it this afternoon. The amount of time we're tethered to technology. Although it connects us, it's great for information exchange, it's great for progression in so many fields like research, science, even education. But we have to know when to say when to put it down. So our ability to hold attention used to be about 15 seconds, used to be. Guess how long most people can hold attention now? 5 to 7. Now, remember we talked about building muscles? You can build your attention. You can actually help yourself get stronger, and you can stay in the present moment longer, but guess what you have to do? Practice it. Intentional. So if we break this down, because it's like, what is mindfulness? What do you mean by attention? This is the most simplistic graphic that I've seen to kind of give you perspective. So when we closed our eyes earlier today, we had focused attention, right? For maybe longer than 7 seconds, right? And then we were distracted. And if you're paying attention to being distracted without judgment, you're distracted. Uh-oh, I forgot to take the laundry out of the, whatever it might have been. I hope I took that out of the oven or turned the oven off, even more important. But then you come back to the present moment. That is a thought. You didn't run home to go check. You stayed in the present moment. And you come back to being aware. So it's a cycle. It's just a cycle. And it's paying attention to the cycle and knowing that it's very normal, that we are present and not present. We are very clear on our breath and in our body and in the moment, and then the mind takes us somewhere else. Because our brain can teleport us forward and backward in time. And when we move out of the present moment, we're not fully connected. We're not engaged. We're not grounded. We're not fully focused. We're distracted. And so we're going to be distracted for the rest of our lives. We cannot control the brain, but we can be more aware of using it with greater intention. And we can strengthen our capacity to stay more present. Because there's those conversations that you have to hang on and you have to really listen, actively engage, full body in. And can you imagine if you're multitasking, looking at your phone, or you're worried about something else and you've got a parent that's really worried about their child, or the reverse of that, you're really worried about the child and the parent's not present. So how can you create space for yourself to be more present, and how might you do that for other people? So charter, right? Let's put cell phones down. How might we come more prepared? Let's take a deep breath and get grounded. What's our intention for this meeting? What are the outcomes we want to achieve? Right? Those are really important grounding questions. But you have to be very present and intentional. And guess what you have to do? Hear and fully listen to the exchange. and find the common denominators rather than wanting to talk or solve, right? And often we'll go in with an agenda that's ours, and that agenda won't serve the greater purpose if we don't hear what the other person's agenda might be, even if it doesn't align with ours, right? So you kind of look at something as simple as this, but you see how this shows up in our life all the time in real circumstances. So this is what's happening. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. All that's happening when we're pausing and breathing. All this stuff is happening when we're doing things that bring us joy. It's filling us up. So these are literally happy chemicals that start running around the body, as opposed to cortisol, right? Adrenaline, the things that start to spike in our bodies when we're fighting, flighting, freezing, or fawning. We want just the opposite, because this allows us to be calm and grounded and a lot more present and intentional. So I'm probably selling past close, but I think this is fascinating because there's so much research out there now that we didn't have 15 years ago around the capability of the mind and what we can do to sharpen it. And doing these neuro-based training techniques, and we've done actually 3 or 4 already today, and I'll point them out to you as we move through the next slides. But who doesn't want more of this, right? If pausing and breathing, pondering really powerful questions and reflecting, doing things that bring me joy and bring me calm and create the cascade of all those different hormones to run through my body, serotonin, oxytocin. That's the love drug, by the way. If you hug somebody, it's powerful, powerful. So are y'all sold? I know, if we could have a world that just was more present and more calm and more intentional, all these things would improve. All of them would improve. So we're gonna kind of talk about them. So we check out to check in. Breath is an anchor. So we did that already today, right? Less than 2 minutes. Music is an anchor, and you heard the sounds come in. So these senses can be what could be an anchor. Stop and smell the roses. A picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Savor the taste. So every time we focus in on one thing, that allows us to be present. You ever touch something that just really feels good? It's like, whoa. That is lighting up the brain and connecting sensation into the body, and it's pulling you into that present moment. I use the word walking meditation because it's a really great way to just get up for 10 minutes and walk outside and just breathe. You get the value of the sun, right? We know how important that is. And we are able to sometimes shift and reframe our thinking when we get out from behind our computer, or we change locations, because it does allow us to kind of shift energetically. So the disruptions to patterns, sometimes especially if we're stressed, and you're seeing that circle go around and around and around, and your computer's stuck and you keep staring at it, right? So how might I just unplug from that and go outside and just walk? Walking meetings, has anybody ever done a walking meeting in here? So walking meetings are actually pretty powerful. And not even literally that you're walking with a friend, but you're walking and talking to someone. That you're, and I find myself behind my computer talking to people. I'm like, what is wrong with me? This thing is mobile. I need to go outside and stand in my garden or just walk to the mailbox. Just do something that's more active than sitting, staring at my computer. All right, so we've got sound as an anchor. So just close your eyes for 1 second and just stay with me. Just hear this sound until it completely disappears. I'm super close to it, but I'm assuming most of us, right, you don't hear it anymore. So this is a great little tool to get attention in your classroom. Sound is a vibration and it moves through the body. We're a conduit for sound. It calms the central nervous system. And it's a great way. Some of y'all, especially in kindergarten, you might do the shh waterfall. But this is another way to create an anchor for sound because it's very soothing. And you get people to listen to it until they can't hear it anymore. It's like, put my little toy back down. Y'all, this is like bowls. Y'all know the crystal bowls? This is a mobile crystal bowl, and I love it because it doesn't break, and I have broken some of my bowls traveling with them. So I'm like, you can't break this. It is a metal martini glass, and you cannot break it. So we look at the body scan. We did that this morning. You know, feel the sensations in your body. We did the heart coherence activation. Very powerful, feeling the rhythm of your own heartbeat. That becomes your anchor, right? And often can trigger more compassion, certainly more awareness, and sometimes there are a lot of different emotions. The emotional wheel you might be familiar with. We have more emotions than sad and happy. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of emotions. And sometimes just touching your own heart is a way to say, hey, what's happening in there? And the brain is real bossy. I don't know if you know, but when you get up in the morning, it's like, do this, do that, do this, do that. Because the brain is telling us what to do because it wants to keep us safe. But the heart actually has more information to tell us than the head does. Isn't that kind of interesting? So that's why when we think about a heart-led leadership team, right? We know what we need to do. Strategy, technique, knowledge, the tactical skills, that's all that up here. But emotional intelligence lives here. Self-awareness and compassion, right? So it's not one or the other, it's both and. It's both and. Anybody familiar with the RAIN method? And everything that I'm talking about today, you will get the PowerPoint and you'll get additional handouts so that there's some support material so you don't have to remember all this stuff. So RAIN is recognize what's going on. It's an acronym, right? Allow the experience to be there just as it is. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to fawn it. Just let it be. Investigate with kindness. Assume positive intent, right? Natural awareness, which comes from not identifying with the experience. So not getting sticky with it. I can't control the uncontrollables. I release control. I'm not going to try to fix it. So these acronyms can kind of be great. It's like stop, drop, and roll. We probably all remember that one from when we were little. The other one is called STOP, and it's stop what you're doing and just take a deep breath. I mean, it's that simple. I know. Observe what you're feeling, and not just what you're feeling, but what you need. And that's where it goes into action. I feel this way, but what do I need? And plan and proceed. Kind of sounds like pause, process, plan, pivot, and proceed. A little bit like that. So all these techniques are out there, and not that you need to memorize all of them because you can't hold that much knowledge without overloading. But whatever I'm mentioning today, pick out the things that really resonate for you. Like that's a technique that I want to try. So EFT tapping, has anybody heard of that? Oh, nobody? Okay, wow, all right, this is good. So y'all participate again? This is all evidence-based research stuff. I do not do anything that I read in the tabloids, right? So there's gotta be some evidence, but these are techniques that I would consider a little bit more, I don't wanna say progressive, because that sounds kind of like, oh, you know, they're better than other things. They're not, they're just outside of Western technology or Western medicine. These would be considered modalities in terms of how you can do things proactively without taking medicine. Because we can take medicine for anxiety. We can take medicine for a lot of things, but I want to solve my life's challenges by going to the Western doctor and getting advice and taking care of myself really going to the doctor. It's really important. But I also want to live a lifestyle where I can do some things that I can do without going to the pharmacy or without paying any money. And these are things that would bring me joy and more clarity. So why would I not want to at least consider, see how these techniques resonate? So tapping is just tapping quite literally certain parts of your body. And I'll send you a handout on this. Yes, this one in particular. Yep. And I'll send you each part that we tap. And I'm just going to do one this morning. But there are a myriad of different places that you can literally tap on your body that bring attention to that area and stimulate nerves, create like more awareness, more flow. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And reduce stress and help spearhead like creativity. So we're going to do that one today. So take your two fingers and just tap right in between your eyebrows. And close your eyes. And I know you might be going, what is she doing? This is slow water torture. It's not, I swear. So you're just tapping. This is the intuitive part of the brain. And so when we tap this area, it helps us to bring consciousness into the moment, but it does have this capacity to wake the brain up, to wake up intuition, and to spark creativity. And for teachers, I think that's something that would be pretty cool. And a tool, kindergartens would probably get a real kick out of this one. So I could spend probably, Barbara, you could invite me back for another hour and we could do the tapping because it's got so much depth to it. But if you're interested, when I send the handout, it'll give you a lot more information on it. But it's crazy, right? Even just touching and tapping, it does bring you more into the present moment. So if you're not like, Terry, I'm not feeling more creative or more intuitive, but you are feeling probably more present, just right here, just more present. All right. I'm glad y'all are open-minded. Remember, new possibilities. So the last one, hug someone, pet an animal. You know how long you have to hug somebody for it really to work? About 30 seconds, actually, about 30. Now, you're going to get some impact because human touch is powerful, even just 2 seconds. But to really have this heart coherence, heart to heart, and to feel your blood pressure go down and to feel grounded in the moment takes a hot minute or a half a minute. So when you're coming home and you're like, leave me alone, I need to decompress, maybe it's like, hug me for 30 seconds, then leave me alone. But it is, and does anybody have pets? Y'all know I do because I left my poor little one home. So petting animals, it's pretty crazy, right? How much relief. Having a cat purring next to you. All these things that we just take for granted that are there to calm us down if we just like tune into it. 2-minute pauses, when and where. In the morning to get grounded before you blast out of bed, right? Before your feet hit the ground. 3 deep breaths. Okay, what's happening? What hurts? What feels good? How am I feeling energetically? Take some deep breaths. You might hear people wrestling, but stay in tune. 2 minutes. Many pauses throughout the day to stay connected. Have y'all ever been that day that you're rushing? You go from point A to point B to B to C to C to D, and it might be from one Zoom call to the next Zoom call, and then you drive home and you're like, I didn't remember the trip home. I don't remember any of the turns I took. Like that's an autopilot way of living. The brain can function that way. There's a lot of choices our brain makes without us even knowing it, thank goodness. But if we can be just a little bit more in tune intentionally, a couple of times, 3 or 4 times a day just to check in, before a workshop, meeting, important conversation or decision, and I know y'all have a lot of those, right? How can I get grounded? Before you take action, especially if something doesn't feel right. Have you ever needed to make a decision and it just doesn't feel right? Like trust your gut. So if that's happening, don't take action, trust your gut. Be with yourself a little bit longer. And if you're still not clear, take 2 more minutes. When you feel anxious or out of balance or stressed, and when you are dealing with conflict or triggered. So practical ways to use this pause. Technology time out, unplug from technology and plug into something that recharges your batteries. This is a lot of the ways that y'all have already told me that you manage stress. Many of these are proactive ways to manage stress. and it's ways to feel joy. It's inviting things into your life that would make you happy. The things I just came out of are often techniques that you do when you're triggered or right before you're about to get triggered. So you see the difference? Both are equally important, but very different skills used for very different reasons at different times. So this is what we want: more dopamine, more oxytocin, more serotonin, more endorphins. So do we want to take like a collective 5-minute break? That's what I'm thinking. And so we'll come back and handle these questions, and then definitely don't let me hold you hostage. Like if you need to go move around, feel free, stand up. I saw a couple people moving. I'm a little bit chilly. I'm noticing. Yes, I'm doing this right. So how much time do we need? How much? 10 minutes? All right, 10 minutes. But a real 10 minutes, y'all. It says stay on time and be on time. And I'm going to turn my little thing on right now. How is this resonating for you?
Oh, I love this.
Good. I saw you doing all the time.
Well, I have this headache. Lots going on, but I have this headache, and so I've been massaging it. And then I saw that, and I was like, "Can I make it work?"
Yeah. Well, this spot right here, right here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So you'll be fascinated, and you were actually tapping. This is a spot too.
Well, I was wondering, just
and
to,
here, yep.
make you notice.
Uh-huh.
I get a massage, and my massage therapist will always say that we start on my face and at my throat because all my
Carry
tension
the
is right
tension.
there.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure at the computer, and just this jaw clenching and shoulders, it all drives right here.
Yeah, but I love this.
Good.
I was going to ask you later, how you got into this field.
Yeah, I'll share. I mean, maybe I hope I have some time for Q&A.
Yeah.
If not, I'm definitely around at lunch, and I'm totally here afterwards. And I'm not rushing. I usually teach a yoga class at 4:30 on Monday, and I'm not teaching it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not rushing.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause, and I'm going to be present, because I figured that it would be great to actually talk to people if people had some one-on-one.
One day during lunch, yoga. Oh, this is my question.
Yeah.
So I teach a class. It's called AVID, which is Advancement via Individual Determination. But it's basically a goal setting. So it's to help middle of the road kids who may not have as much help at home set goals for their future,
Right.
figure out college career pathways, study skills, all of that. But literally, I started off as my whole first 2 weeks are going to be managing stress, mindfulness techniques, and whatnot.
Yes.
What do you charge for a day session?
It's all over the map.
Yeah.
You have budget?
I don't know, but we have a foundation.
Okay.
Where I was gonna go talk to them and see if we could do.
Usually, I'll do a nonprofit rate, and I don't know what I charged TFI, because they're nonprofit, maybe 2,500.
Okay.
And then when I work with corporate, it's 5.
Okay.
But I do whatever I want to do, because I have my own business, and I love this work.
Yeah.
So I do some volunteer stuff, and then I'll do some reduced rate, and then do what's called a value in kind. So there's a lot of different ways that I just hate for anything to be a barrier.
No, yeah, well, and I'll
And that rate's probably pretty good. I mean, I don't think that would flip anybody out. That's a pretty low rate for this type of work. But I love doing it, and nonprofits don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you're trying to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we'll definitely talk for sure. Oh, look. Should I go out in the hallway? No. I should go in the bathroom. I know, isn't this guy? And it's so great because it moves. It is very similar. You want to hold it?
Oh, yes.
Isn't that great?
I do.
Yeah. And it's
you can feel the vibration.
you can. And what's crazy is you can walk around with this, and you can even move the energy by. And that you hit it.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? And you feel it in your hands.
This is D?
Yeah. This is when I was first learning, because I do not have a music background, so I had to label all my instruments. It is much like a tuning fork. I know. I've got a couple of things. I got this in Asheville from a place called Skinny Beats. And the guy that owns his name's Billy, and he is skinny. And he has all kinds of sound healing and instruments, and they're all indigenous from tribes and people that have handmade them from all over the world. And this I fell in love with because I can't break it. Plus, I love to move around with it. I'm going to play a few more things like to close us out this afternoon, but yeah, this is. Let's see if it has a name on it. Aha. Let's see. I know this thing is a weapon. I have to be careful with it. I know, right? I bet you this is what it's called. Free Notes Company, DA Wave. DA Wave. And it's basically the D note and the A note. So I think that kind of denotes, I think you can get it like E and F. Like you can get two different ones and you can get different combinations. Yes. Yeah, you want to take a picture or? D, and that's indicating the notes. So I think the actual important part would be the Free Notes Company, and it's a DA wave. So it could be an EA wave, an FG wave, depending upon the notes you're playing. But this is I need things that are durable, and that I can travel with. I've been traveling some with my crystal bowls, and they're easy to break, and I'm just like, and they're big. So I'm like, I think I'm gonna get a whole set of just these. All right. All right. Are we ready to be back in action? Was that a good break? Y'all are warm and probably feeling more comfortable. Okay. So I may have missed, let's just make sure if we answered 5. How do you manage stress? We did talk about that. What mindfulness technique will you practice to improve the quality of your life? So that's just kind of a question. We talked about a lot of them. Stop, rain, the heart, kind of that coherence, sound, breath. So what new one, what old one might you commit to doing more, and what new one might you consider integrating? And that's really the big action. That's the question 6. Other things to think about is, why is adopting these techniques important to me? Because if you're not motivated, right, there's not an intrinsic why it would somehow impact your life in a better way, then you're probably not going to be motivated to do it. So I like to always ask questions with the, what are you going to do? And then, why is it important to you? And what's the motivation? How will your life be better as a result of it? Because, I don't know, I have to get buy-in from myself. And I bet you guys have to get buy-in from other people too. So connecting on all those levels are important. So don't just survive. I love this picture. She just looks so happy. So thrive, right? So that's where we're moving now. Ideal being concept. So self-awareness, sometimes what's on the surface is just the tip of the iceberg, right? So it does take the why, the 7 whys, to get down underneath into where the fulcrum, right, the genesis, the piece that really needs to be unlocked, because that's where the big change is going to happen. And I don't know about you, but I don't always go deep diving on everything in my life. But the things that are important are probably worth a deeper dive. So hopefully you're beginning to think about things that are important to you in your life, and the fact that you have to kind of spend some time, like today, really processing it. And when do we give ourselves a full day's permission to focus on me without feeling me-centric? And guess what? It's really healthy to be me-centric, appropriately so, when we're trying to practice self-awareness and self-care and live a more authentic life and be our best self. We have to kind of make ourselves the project. So you have to make yourself the focus. So ideal being, if you did not take the survey, this concept was introduced in the survey, but I didn't really give a definition, and that's by intention and design. So that's on your action plan. I asked folks to share what they thought this word meant to them. And a couple of people said, I had no idea, which I thought was so honest and fabulous. And then some people, clearly, contentment, authenticity, fulfillment, balance, joy, best self, self-care, harmony, calm, happiness, joy. So I introduced this word about 8 years ago when I was doing research around health and well-being, and there's so many things. Moving your body, fueling your body, resting your body, taking care of your body. So many things that we can do to practice self-care. Everybody's different. Every single person on this planet is different. We all have a distinct and unique thumbprint. So for me to come in and start prescribing what you need to do or feel to create an ideal life for yourself would be a kind of insane thing for me to attempt to do. So the invitation is for you to think deeply about what does peace, what does harmony, what does ideal, what does that mean to me? And it's definitely not going to be the same as it is for me. Thank goodness. So if we think about well-being, and that's sort of the classic what the world or society or our health teachers have told us we should want and need to do. But I'm inviting you to broaden your perspective, and I'm inviting you to think about mental, physical, emotional, relational well-being. Heart-centered, thought-provoking, body awareness well-being. So this is a rhetorical question, and it's loaded. Do you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially healthy, content, and balanced in your life based on what's important to you? And this changes, because what was important to me in my 20s is definitely not what's important to me now. And you probably may have seen that in your children, even your spouse, if you've been married for a while. Things change. How can I stay in tune with what I need? And what really does represent ideal for me? What aligns with my core values? How do I want to feel when I get up in the morning? How do I want to spend my time and energy? Who do I want to be spending it with? Why am I here? Big, philosophical, important questions. And they don't all have to be figured out. But at least you're spending time asking them. And you have to ask them often because they do change. They do change. Life changes. And why is this important? I don't need to read, but clearly how you show up for yourself and others. So energy deposits and withdrawals. You've heard me talk a lot about energy today, at least a little bit, right? Okay, so I checked in this morning. Where was your energy? Where's your energy now, by the way? Is it still, where is it? Will you put your hands back up so I can get a sense? Okay, all right, this is good. I'm not losing. If I saw this, I might need to go do some resuscitation or put somebody really energetic beside you, right? Because we do have energy and we share energy, right? We put out energy. So I think about a bank account, and this was just a good analogy for me, and so I express it. We get up in the morning, and we get a deposit, coffee. We get a deposit, a bagel. We get a deposit, we hug our dog. That's what I do. And then we get a deficit, we get in traffic. We have a hard conversation at work. We get in that Excel spreadsheet that we hate doing. Then we get to teach. Then we have a cool conversation at lunch with somebody we really like, right? And then we have a tough thing that we have to decide. And boy, that's draining, right? So our day exists of deposits and withdrawals. And so when we can kind of think about the day, what gives me energy, what fuels me, and what depletes me, it would help to determine how you can go home at the end of the day or put your head on the pillow, because after you get home, there's more work to do, right? Put your head on the pillow and go, ooh, I'm not bankrupt today. I am still in the blue. And there's some days that you go to bed and you're in the red, right? And you feel that. That impacts how you feel. And if you live a lot of days where it's deficit, 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 stress, anxiety, depression, chronic disease, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Relationships are impacted, your mental and physical well-being, emotional state of mind, all those things are impacted. So I point this out because we have the ability to go to the balcony and pause and kind of go, okay, what is vying for my time and energy? There's not but so many hours in the day. How might I slice and dice my energy with greater intention? How might I make sure I don't stack 19 things that drive me crazy, stress me out, and spit me out exhausted? why it would be very helpful to sprinkle in some joy. So that's where we can look at our energy and we can look at our day and our time and be just a little bit more strategic. And we're going to talk about time management a little bit deeper, but I wanted to introduce this concept. Does this resonate with y'all? So self-care brings you joy. So this is what you said. Now, I find this fascinating, and I always ask the two questions, is what helps you de-stress? That was the question earlier on. What are the things that you do to manage stress? Very similar. Now, there's some uniquenesses. There's some new things, and some maybe 20% new things are surfacing off of this slide, but there's a parallel that's happening. So when we are doing things that bring us joy, we are practicing self-care, we're filling ourselves up, plus we're de-stressing at the same time. So, you know, I'm closing, what is it, selling past close, right? I mean, it's just like, okay, I'm paying attention. And guess what? I can get a double dip, because if I go for that walk, I'm de-stressing, it's bringing me joy, and it's adding energy to my day. And it's not time consuming, it doesn't cost a lot of money. I don't need a lot of equipment. You could even walk barefooted, right? And it only takes like 5 minutes outside. So it's a very small investment, which would have big yield and big return. Life inventory. Did you use the word recalibrate? Somebody used the word recalibrate in a conversation that I was having. And I thought, wow, because it's so true. And I knew it was going to come back up in today's presentation, is just because we're on track and we feel good doesn't mean tomorrow's not going to be without its struggles and challenges. So how can I take time to recalibrate? So this isn't just, oh, let's come to this full day retreat and let's like become more aware and inspired and motivated, but it does require making yourself a priority. And sometimes we get off balance. Sometimes the bank account gets, you know, kind of drained. So what can we do to recalibrate? So breakouts. Are y'all ready for breakouts again? Are y'all cool in your same groups? I might mix y'all up after lunch. But for now, what do you want to do more of to support your ideal being, and why? What barriers are getting in your way, and what do you need to be successful? These are the last two in particular are where we get tripped up, because it's real easy to visualize maybe your future state and go, that's the goal I have. Be real clear on your why. And then it's like you go to execute and like there's a barrier. There's a barrier. And so that's why I want to spend some time talking about the barriers, because we can't blow them up, like come up with ways to get around them without talking about it. So the first time I did this, I guess 5 years ago, we had all these great ideas, and I felt like we didn't have time to really talk about the barriers. And that's where the rubber meets the road. So ever since then, I'm like, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity for this group to get together, hear each other, learn from each other, share ideas, and then maybe come out a little bit wiser, a little bit more informed as a result of that. And y'all asked for that, by the way, is y'all really wanted to hear from each other and learn from each other. So now's your chance. So we got how much? 10 minutes? Is that good? About 10 minutes? I'll kind of watch y'all. If you start like, I don't know, drifting, getting on your phone, stuff like that, I'll call us back to, 10 minutes. I'll put my little, did I say 5 or 10? 10, okay. All right, accountability, here we go. I'm giving a 2-minute warning. Actually, you still have 3 minutes. Are y'all still talking? Let me just plant this seed so I don't catch you off guard. Is we're gonna, maybe I should do it right now. Okay, I would like for each, and I'll give y'all an extra minute because I'm changing the rules of engagement. Will you capture high level what your group is talking about? And then I don't have to put this gentleman to work again. So what I'm thinking, if you don't mind, just kind of, this will be a good recap because you've been talking for a while. Maybe just capture some of those barriers, and we're going to help blow them up when we get back together, because I want you to kind of talk about the barriers and what y'all have come up with as to the solutions to help navigate around those barriers. And I'll come back and give you a Sharpie so that you have something better to write with than just a thin pen. Is that good? All right. Voila. Have I gotten one to everybody? Are y'all good with this? And then we'll have you like group report out. So I'll get somebody to like be the spokesperson for the group. I'm coming around with a pen. I think just high level on really the barriers and what you're going to do to try to navigate those. I mean, you could definitely say there's a common denominator in these things the group wants to do more of to support their ideal being, but you use your judgment on what you think is going to be most important for the group to hear. So maybe answer it through those filters. How might I help the other people in the room? Voila. Somebody good to do this part of it? I don't know where the sticker, is that the sticker part? Yeah, there you go. Voila. You are so welcome. All right, I'm adding 2 more minutes to the time clock. Did I give y'all enough time to at least like scratch the surface? Awesome. All right, so this is kind of the flow to give you like some foreshadowing. This is a really pivotal part of the morning. Is we've paused, we've processed, we've probably heard information that we've heard before, and maybe it's like, thanks for reminding me. Maybe you're like, oh, I knew that, but you've given me different perspective, or maybe brand new stuff. So that's a lot. Can y'all still hear me when the mic was down? Okay. That's a lot to try to assimilate. So there's no pressure to come up with perfect answers today, but to find the things that really resonate with you. And we're moving into that actionable stage of what would I like to do? What do I want to plan to do? Why do I want to do that? How would my life be better? And that dang barrier keeps getting in the way over and over and over again. And unless we figure out a way to navigate around it and we get the right tools and support in place, it's like Groundhog's Day. We could end up circling the runway yet again and not the ability to get to the desired outcome that we want. So I want to make sure we have a good 15 minutes in this space. Then I'll wrap us up before lunch with some of those time management techniques that I promised that I normally don't talk about, but I think we'll have time to integrate them in. And again, I'll send all this to you after the presentation's over today as well. So who would like to share out for your group? Anything that you want to share that's related to any of these, but I think the goal is what is some stuff that you want to work on, what the group is interested in putting into your life more, and what are those barriers? And then I heard some folks, let's come up with a solution. I heard you say, what's the solution for that, right? And we might not have it all solved today, right? Rome was not built overnight, but we can begin to at least put the spotlight on ways in which we have personally maybe gotten over something, and you share that with somebody else, you're like, that's a great idea. So that's what we're doing, and we're kind of building on each other's ideas. And we've all had brilliance happening at our table, and now I want us to share the brilliance with the collective consciousness. So that's the intention. Is that good? All right. Who wants to go first and share? Awesome. You want? Yeah. You got the microphone.
Good morning. In our group, we talked about barriers being perfectionism, the desire to do everything right, overthinking things, time management being the lack of prioritizing and giving things time that so much time that might not need that much time, world events and helping students to think critically. And one of the things that we determined the solution is don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So that was a good little statement that we came out and try to let things go. We can't do it all.
Now I got to read that again. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Try to let things go. We can't do it all. So that's reframing your thinking. And remember at the very beginning, Marcus Aurelius says happiness really is the direction of our thoughts. And that's very well said. And these are real barriers. I mean, these are things that can trip you up. And it's not necessarily about solving all of them with this long to-do list of things, but it's maybe going upstairs into the head and going, let me reframe this. Because perfection, we know, is an illusion, and it will also often rob you of joy on the way to your destination, because all you're concerned about is things being so perfect you can't even look up and around to go, that was a milestone. I just did something that created progress. And progress is definitely the fuel to outcomes, not perfection. So well said. Very wise. All right, who wants to go second?
All right, so some of the barriers that we say were getting in our way were perfectionism, people pleasing, ineffective planning, self-doubt, self-sabotage, and inconsistency. And it's one that you brought up that I just thought about was guilt, especially when you have kids of your own. And when you get home from a long day and you want that time to yourself, you may feel guilty because they're your kids and you want to make sure you're giving back into them as well. And how to be successful, trust yourself, make time for yourself, say no, set boundaries, and positive self-talk.
Y'all are wise. This is a wise group. Y'all are really crawling way upstairs with the reframing, the shifting, and what is possible, what's realistic, and what can I put down? Shame is one of those things. Guilt is one of those things. They'll rob you of joy, right? Yeah. And then when you were reading, and I was thinking, you know, you have this child, and you come home, and they just want to spend time with you, and you're so tired. And I'm like, you want to go for a walk? Will you go for a walk with mommy? And that just came into my head. It's like, how can we think outside the box, and how might I spend time, but time that would fill us both up, you know? So nice. All right, next group. Are y'all good? Ready to go? Who is going to take this microphone from me? This is not a group of extroverts. I'm just telling you right now. No.
Okay, so our barriers, I feel like we went a little concrete, which is good too.
Yes.
Time, money, and ourselves. The what do we need, or like how do we kind of be successful in that is plan out the specifics, stick to a plan and follow through, and keep it up to kind of see the benefits of that plan and support from other people.
Yeah. And I love the concrete, right? Time, money, ourselves, right? And what kind of support? Like, what do I need? I don't need to push the boulder. Yes, yes, the plan. Let's get up, let's architect the plan. And what if I fall off the horse? How do I get back on? And then what are the tools and resources? And often those are people in our lives that can support our goals. And there's a word, I love sharing this word. It's a Sanskrit word, and it's called mudita. Has anybody ever heard of it? So it's a beautiful word which means surround yourself with people that when you are feeling joy, they have joy for you. It's like unconditional love, but unconditional joy. How might I pick people in my life that when I am laughing and happy and I'm feeling joy, they feel joyful for me and through me? So how sometimes the people you surround yourself with, I'm just saying, they matter, right? People matter. All right. Mudita, M-U-D-U-T-A, mudita. Mudita, M-U-D-A-T-A. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a Sanskrit word, which is Indian. It's yogic. We don't use it anymore, really, unless you teach yoga or you're into yogic philosophy. But
You like to know words.
what's that? Or you like to know words. I love words and the root words of things. I know, it's so cool. All right, so we went, right? Y'all, I'm starting to have white out. Y'all went, we went. There you go. Y'all have to keep me honest now because, it takes a village. Oh, perfect.
We're gonna do it just because we're gonna build on what they said. So
Okay, I love
one of
that.
the things we said was not sticking to boundaries. We felt like we were all good at creating boundaries and not sticking to them. So we talked about explaining to those around us and asking for support. Distractions, phone, technology, obligations, having to carve out time to remain present with others. Mental and physical exhaustion, keeping up with exercise, healthy eating and stuff. So solutions. Getting more sleep, drinking more water, packing more lunch. No DoorDash.
These are good. All right, so that was a mouthful and a lot of very positive stuff. No, I can't do it right now. Love to help you. I have somebody who might be able to. Got more time next month? Can you wait for that? Can you do DoorDash once a month? Right, negotiate, right? So the no doesn't have to be no forever. Now it might be, right? And you sort of don't even really have to explain yourself, but if it's somebody that you care about, and it might be nice to let him know what's going on in your life, it's way okay. And you might even renegotiate a deadline. I promised you I'd have this by this time. So much came up that I couldn't control. And so can I renegotiate the deadline? Can I say maybe? Because a no might not have to be never. It might be maybe, but let me see what I'm doing next year, next month. So kind of cool. What was one other? You said a couple of things. The energy. So we go back to the deposits and withdrawals. If y'all have gotten up every day and your to-do list is full of withdrawal, 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 that's the kind of energy you're going to come home with and you're going to go to bed with. And you're going to wake up the next day. Because if you've had that kind of tough day, I don't care if you get 8 hours sleep, it takes longer to repair than just one night. And you do a day and a day and a day and a day after that, and that's the aggregate when it really catches up with you. Because we think about stress, there's good stress, right? There's the things that happen in our life. I've got to present tomorrow, so I'm kind of nervous, but it gets me motivated. And there's acute stress, which is maybe your mother-in-law moving in with you for 6 weeks temporarily while their kitchen gets remodeled. And I love mother-in-laws. I'm just using that as an analogy. Disruption, change, right? Or you have these days that keep repeating themselves that are full of deficit, 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 deficit. And that affects your ideal being. It affects your ability, even though you want to do it. In your head, you know it's right. In your heart, you really desire to want to do it, but your body cannot because you don't have the energy, right? So this is where that energy exchange is really important to kind of watch how you're spending your time. Make sense? Cool. All right, who's next? Who's next? Let me flip it around for you. You are very welcome. I'll be Vanna White and turn the.
For some barriers, we were saying negative habits, fear of failure, inconsistency, time management. And so the ways we thought about how to be successful is like the opposite of the barriers. So positive thinking, reflecting, finding time to connect, trusting yourself in the process, sticking to a plan and not your mood.
That's a zinger. Did y'all hear that? Sticking to your plan, don't let your mood derail the plan. I just added that a little bit, a couple extra words. Checking yourself before you wreck yourself, right? Truly. So true. I have some isms. I'll share them with y'all at the very end. We went? Y'all went? Yes. Everybody went? Oh. I saved the best for last, but don't tell anybody. Y'all are the best. I'm just kidding. Let me flip it for you.
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome. This is good handwriting. Wow. I think I keep stealing these from the tables.
Some of our barriers: work-life balance, unexpected moments, competing priorities, perfectionism, collaboration, and team dynamics. To be successful, we came up with setting boundaries, taking breaks and just breathing, saying no to things or delegating responsibility, just letting it go, and being intentional.
Wow. Y'all might want to take a picture of all these in your camera, and I'll put them up over lunch because these are some really good reminders. And there's a common theme of pausing, right? And just being a bit more intentional how you're spending time and energy. And having a plan, sticking to it, knowing that you shouldn't go it alone. Because, I don't know about you, but I'm strong, but not that strong, right? Strong, but not that strong. And life's better together anyway. We get to celebrate the milestones and the victories when we get to share the journey. All right. Moving on, and these are on your action plan. Some of them are deep questions. You might have jotted some down, but just to note, you'll get a copy of the PowerPoint, but the action plan has that on there. So a lot of these showed up. Not all of them, but a lot of them showed up. And research, this is it. I mean, these are the top things that keep us often from achieving what we want to achieve in life. And we started spending time today thinking about why it's important to overcome the barriers, and then what are causing us barriers, and then what are some really intentional ways in which to navigate through them. And we didn't solve it all because we only have a day, but we started, and that's where you get progress, is one step at a time. So SMART goals, do we all know SMART goals? Okay, y'all are teachers. So we got to practice what we preach, right? We got to practice what we preach. So I'm not going to go into any detail. I'm just saying you got to work the plan. And this is pretty good. The thing that I would say supersizes this is that you know your intrinsic why. You really know your why, not because somebody else said, but because I believe and it aligns with my core values and it's going to feed my soul and align with my ideal being. Heart-centric. This doesn't run out of gas, right? This doesn't run out of gas. It keeps our compass strong in all the right ways. So time is finite. We know that. We can't buy more of it. If we could, we'd all be millionaires. Push pause. Ooh, let me go do all the things I want to do, and I'll come back re-energized and unfreeze time. Maybe in this lifetime with quantum physics, we'll figure that out. But right now, I haven't figured it out. So we know that energy is renewable, just like a battery, just like plugging your phone in to the charger. Our bodies are not machines, but sometimes we treat them worse than we do our own phones. Our phones, we usually charge them every night, right? But what are we doing in our own home, the most important place we live on the planet, and that is our own bodies. So really having this sense of compassion for self and this understanding that we are not computers and we cannot keep up with them. We can't do it. We will short circuit. What we can do is we can use technology and we can use all these things around us to enhance the areas in which they are providing great value. But we cannot keep up with machines because we are not. So use both of them wisely. Do the things that energize you and align with your ideal being. And we've been talking about that a lot this morning. So the management of time and energy. So I have 3 slides, and I think I will finish right on time. Are y'all hanging tough? Are we good? Okay. Was that a good exercise, just to hear your voice and to share and then hear the collective? Good. So prioritize the Eisenhower method or matrix. Who has heard of that? Oh, okay, y'all, this is my favorite ever. So turn over your action plan and do a line down the center and a line across the center, like this. Make sense? I guess I don't know if that, don't even ask me horizontal and all that stuff, but just one line down the center and then the other one, yeah. So you got 4 quadrants, right? Okay, in that top right-hand quadrant, urgent and important. What is on fire that I have to do today, right now, because it is urgent and important? Bottom right-hand corner, do later. Do later. Do later. I can do that next week. I can do that next month. I can renegotiate the deadline, but I can do it later. So top right is urgent and important. Bottom right is due later. And it really doesn't matter what quadrant you put them in because they're all 4 going to be filled with good stuff. So the top left one would be delegate. Delegate. Why am I doing this task that I could delegate? Maybe because it takes more time to train that person and I can just get it done and do it myself. But how great it would be if you train that person one time and then you never ever had to do it again. So what's your long-term goal? So delegate. What can you delegate? And then the bottom left-hand corner, delete. Delete. Flush it, right? Because sometimes we get caught up in doing all these little tasks and things that really aren't that important. In the grand scheme of the Eisenhower, this is President Eisenhower. This was his philosophy and his framework. Isn't that kind of cool? And you guys, I get up in the morning and I really do look at my to-do list. And if I looked at it aggregately, I would be overwhelmed. I put it in a quadrant. And I do it every day, and I sometimes change it after lunch. And I don't necessarily get my little quadrant out and like write everything down, but I'm constantly in my brain going, is this urgent and important? Is this highest use of my time and energy? Could I delegate it and really empower somebody else that would love to do it and be like, oh, thank you for trusting me? Can I do it next week? I really want to do this right now. Yes.
Is it one for personal and professional?
You could do it for both. You sure could. You sure could. Because sometimes it helps the brain if you can think in categories. So you could do one for your life, outside of work, and you do one for work, or you can blend it. What's that?
Like it would be a good, like a morning time thing, like you have your quiet time beforehand and kind of
Yeah.
ratchet one of these out.
Yeah. And I kind of blend them, personally, because like my workouts are really important to me, not just for physical, but for mental and emotional well-being. And so that would be an urgent for me. I would put that up there. And it's not like I got to go spend 2.5 hours in the gym. It might just be 20 minutes of my Peloton or walking my dog for 45 minutes or something, right? But something me-centric or self-care related always goes in my urgent and important. And then there's a big presentation that you're preparing for. You got to get grades out. You got to have this serious conversation with a parent. Whatever it might be, I need to prepare for that. That's urgent and important. Now, you might think about the 5 or 6 of those that you have to have, but I bet you're not having them in the same day. Do later. Just tackle what you can tackle that day. And if everything's in your urgent and important, you're not prioritizing. And I don't mean that like negative, it just is a challenge to you to go, it all can't be urgent and important, or nothing is. So try to have some level of emotional separation and trying to just check the box and go, okay, I want to check the box, but I'm going to put everything in its quadrant and I'm going to get to it when I need to get to it. And it changes, right? There could be a disruption that occurs, have a flat tire, well, that's urgent and important. So guess what that reminds you to do? Not overstack your days, because that's life. You have unexpected circumstances. So if you're rushing from one event to the next with no buffer whatsoever, you're kind of setting yourself up, right? Because no day ever goes the way we expect it. So this is probably one of the most powerful tools. I started using it about 10 years ago, and it's been a game changer for me. It's why I put it first, because it's the one that I just think has such impact. So a couple of others: set actionable goals and break goals into smaller tasks. So that is something that will help with the psychology of progress. Is if we think about, I need to get way over there, that can be a daunting, overwhelming task. Think about scaling Mount Kilimanjaro. It's base camp to the next base camp to the next base camp. If you were to think about getting all the way up to the top with all that cold weather, holy smokes, you'd probably never start. But if I can just get to base camp, running a marathon, if I can just get to 1 mile, walking around the block, if I can just get to the end of the driveway, wherever you are, it's a start. One small step at a time. And you get a dopamine hit. Your body actually gets happy when you're able to achieve something. It's like the serotonin starts popping and like, woo, I did the happy dance. I really accomplished something. Time blocking. So anybody do time blocking in here? A little bit. Okay, so so the time blocking is looking at the totality of your day. And I'm going to integrate energy into this also. It's like, in order to stay in flow, and when we're in flow, that means we're uninterrupted, and we're kind of doing something that's related. We're not bouncing from one task to one that requires different skill sets, different environments. We're kind of staying in flow. And if you time block, it's like, okay, I'm going to return all my emails in the morning. I'm going to grade papers from 9 to 10. I'm just making this up. I'm going to do some self-care. And then I'm going to do that Excel spreadsheet project that I cannot stand. And we'll do it right before lunch. So when I go to lunch, I can actually breathe. I can go do a walk or whatever I might do, and I can get a deposit back. And then I'm going to have that really tough conversation with the principal or the executives. And I'm not looking forward to it. but I got to do it, urgent and important. Time block that. How do you prepare for it? Don't just land in the conversation. How might I spend some time getting grounded? That'll keep you from getting exhausted because you're more prepared. And then, of course, there's teaching throughout that and all the things that go along with that. But you do so much as teachers that is behind the scenes, administrative, right? And interdependent upon other people that you work with, whether it's administration or other teachers. And then there's the students, and then there are the parents, and then there are the things that just show up that you didn't anticipate, and then there's you and your self-care. I mean, it's a hot mess. It's a lot. So thinking about it in those ways, and how might I time block the day to stay in flow? How might I not stack 6 things in a row that don't bring me any joy? Because then you're just setting yourself up to be exhausted. So plug in some fun and some joy into that. Peak energy, notice when your tasks require a lot of energy, and be mindful to do that during the day that actually you have a lot of energy. So if you're waiting to do that arduous Excel spreadsheet or grading at the very end of the day and you're already exhausted and that's going to make you more exhausted, maybe you could consider doing that in the morning or at lunch. I mean, just playing around with how tasks align with your energy and the time of day. Set daily intentions, ensure they match short and long-term goals and values. The Eisenhower method is kind of a way to go, okay, here's my day, or here's my week. How's that aligning with what my goals are, personal and professional? And kind of going back to what we did when we first came in the room as we got grounded, what's your intention for today? How might I get my mindset ready? And how might I show up and give myself, the time to be fully present? And that's setting an intention. If we kind of blasted out of the gate and I just started talking at you and we didn't get grounded and we didn't talk about intention, it'd have been fine. You probably wouldn't have noticed the difference. But what a great thing to actually pause and have some intentionality behind the why we're here. Single tasking. Okay, how many people multitask in here? I know, right? I know. And I'll just, it is what it is, right? We multitask, we're trying to juggle, right? We're trying to juggle. The reality is we can't really multitask, but the brain can turn on and off and 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 on and off, which is fine, but that aggravates the heck out of our brains when we're stop, start. A lot of times it creates a lot of disruption. It gets us out of flow. It doesn't make us as efficient. Doesn't mean we can't multitask, and I'm not saying stop multitasking. I'm just saying be aware that if you multitask all day long, you are going to be exhausted. So find some single task moments, right? The walking, the breathing, the conversation with somebody. So limit distractions. So we have this ability to set boundaries, physical boundaries. We have the ability to not set ourselves up for failure. So if we got a high-focused project, we're probably not going to do it in the middle of the living room or with our door open where we know kids are going to be running in and out of our classroom. So how might I find a space that creates the ability for me to stay focused? Turn off technology, distractions during focused work. So we were chatting about this, right, at the break. And when we come out of focus, like say you're working on a document and you get a ding on your phone or at the bottom of your computer, or somebody comes in, a coworker, it's life, right? And that's okay. But what I will tell you, it will take you anywhere from 15 seconds to 23 minutes to get back into flow. And that is a physiological, measurable thing that happens with the brain. Now, if it's a bing, maybe it's like just look and it's not important, you go back in, you weren't really working on anything complex, but if you're working on a complex project, which requires a lot of focus, if you get pulled out of flow, you're probably looking at 23 minutes before you're back in full flow. Do we know that or maybe assume that's probably the case? Have you ever started a project and you're like, God, I wish I would have finished it. I feel like I'm starting it all over from scratch. That's what I'm talking about. Is this resonating with y'all? Okay, good. And the last one, regular breaks, the Pomodoro technique is allowing you to work in intervals. And I'll do this a little bit. I'll actually set my timer, because sometimes if we don't put a bumper on the back end of a project, it could go and go and go. One of the things, even preparing for this, y'all, I have a little bit of perfectionism tendencies, so I govern that by putting some time bumpers on. I'm like, okay, Terry, you have to be finished by 8 o'clock, like last night, and you have to get it finished. When we set those internal boundaries or compasses or time clocks, we are a lot more apt, because the brain knows that's what we're trying to do, and it will figure out a way to condense and get everything done for the most part. Kind of like going to a meeting that's an hour or 45 minutes, guess what? If you have a 45-minute meeting and you're trying to accomplish the same thing, you will get it done. The extra 15 minutes, you'll just keep using the time, because we got all the time. So setting those like boundaries around time can be really powerful. Deposits, withdrawals, energy mapping, label tasks as energizing or draining or neutral. We've talked about that quite a bit. Prioritize self-care and, of course, habits, right? Regular exercise, balanced diet, sufficient sleep, hydration, and practice mindfulness, all activities that support your ideal being. Why is this important? Because you won't have the energy to do any of the other stuff if you're not starting first with this place of self-care. So what time and energy technique will you try? That is on your action plan. So maybe there's one that you do and you're like, I need to start doing that again. Or maybe there's a new one. Did anything resonate for y'all that you're like, I'm gonna try that? Because time is often a barrier, right? You have the resources, you just don't have the time. Energy is finite. So how do I use my energy more wisely? Proactively filling up my bucket rather than withdrawing. And this will blow y'all's mind. Okay. Technology timeout. So when people say, I don't have time, I say, well, if you put this down for about 45 minutes when you're scrolling Instagram, and now I'm not saying everybody is, and there's nothing wrong with Instagram, because I scrolled it last night before I went to bed. But it's mindfulness of how long you're scrolling. So this is fact. We spend 2 to 3 hours at work using technology. Probably makes sense. Some of us even more, depending upon what type of job you have. 3 to 4 hours, social media, phone call, checking things, email exchanging, looking at scrolls, looking at whatever we're looking at, right? It's like the attention deficit, the bings and the dings. And then entertainment videos like TV, live streaming, those kind of things. So you may be at the high or low end of this spectrum, maybe even higher or lower, but this is the average in the United States of America. Interesting, right? And so nothing wrong with it, except for to say if you are losing time or need time, here is a very simple way to get some back. Ta-da! So how are we feeling so far? Is this, I'm checking my time. Ooh, it's 12:01. I know, y'all, I landed the plane, but let me, like, truly, is this feeling good for everybody? Good, good, all right. I'm around during the break, so if you have any questions, please come up and talk with me. If there's something you're dying for me to talk about, you think the group would value it, tell me. And I think we have 1 hour, right, Barbara? And so, like a real 1 hour. And if there is anything, right, anything that you're like, because we're talking about conflict, communication, collaboration this afternoon, and that comes up in our world, and how can we work together? What are the skills I need? If there's anything that you're like, Terry, please talk about this, will you promise me you'll talk to me at the break, and then I'll try to weave it in if I can. And then other than that, I hope y'all fuel, right, rest, and recharge. So we're gonna go do some deposits, right? All right, there you go. Thank y'all so much.